Hi, everybody. This is Marilyn, and it's the afternoon. Do we have audio? Maybe? Yes, we do. Okay, thanks. This is Marilyn, and welcome to my world on 2:30. It's about 2:30 on the 2nd of November. This is the first trading day of November, so it's always a little interesting, the first trading day of any month, but November and December are going to be quite interesting. So I hope everybody had a wonderful day today. We have a lot of new people with questions and stuff in the room. It's really helpful if you will use Jing or something similar and take a screenshot of your chart, whatever it is that you're asking about, and be sure it's the whole chart, because it gives us the time and some of the settings that people can look at and compare to. And it's a great way to get feedback. You know, I did this and it didn't work out, so why didn't it, and what should I have done? And everybody can kind of chime in, and everybody learns. We all kind of learn together here doing this. But this afternoon, the trades were pretty much over with crude oil earlier in the day, which is typical. If there is a nice movement in the afternoon, it tends to be very choppy and untradeable. Today, the market to trade, at least from my perspective, was TF. And I'm going to drag my TF chart over here in a second. I don't know if this will help anybody else, but I keep a little 30-minute candles of all of the indices, TF, NQ, YM, and ES, and all in a little row, so that I can tell at a glance how they are performing relative to each other. Because since you can't trade everything known to mankind all at the same time, if you're going to trade one of the indices, my suggestion is, or at least my thinking is, pick the strongest one. And at 9:30, the 9:30 to 10 timeline definitely showed TF was leading the U.S. indices very, very strongly. So I'll pull this over here and show you what my chart looks like. Let's see. I don't know why that one's on top. I'll move it down here. But I don't take any trades right at 9:30 on these indices, because you don't really know what's going to happen, and you can get run over and flattened like a pancake real fast. But this had kind of an interesting thing I was going to show you, because after it went up here and set a new high for the day right at this deviation level, about the half deviation, it took it about a half an hour. I've talked about this before, that these markets tend to try that a certain level 3 times, and on that third push they will either really reject it or they'll blow right through it. And TF did that today. It went up and put this in right about a little after 10. And you can scalp these if I would use a 210 chart to scalp these with, if you want to scalp, if you're going to trend scalp. That's kind of the way I do it in crude oil. But you can scalp this down from this deviation level down to the half deviation level. This is I put the markers over here on the left. So it's the 0.7 to the 0.5 and back up again. But my point I wanted to make is that it set this in, it went up and tried it once and rejected it a little bit, didn't get very far, went up and tried it again, rejected it a little bit, came back, went up and tried it again, and started pushing it higher. But that third push, and if you're thinking, oh golly, I don't know if it's going to get stopped out or whatever, with the as long as it keeps above this deviation, and you see this candle right here, this is somebody running stops right here. So if you have a stop in because you took this E right here, follow the rules about putting your stop down here below this P or in other words, give it some room. And so when this thing took off, even if you were just kind of waiting to see what was going to happen, this is a huge run up right here. And so from this deviation up to this deviation, I know Daryl likes to trade deviation to deviation sometimes when these are trending, but boy, it just, this is a place where you just trail your stops and keep on going. So where it will stop, that's the $64,000 question. Who knows? But even capturing, when you see these kinds of trends and you're scrolling back and you're thinking, oh, wow, gee, if I could just do that. The reality is the expectation would be if you get 60% of this kind of a movement, you have done extremely well. You are never going to get every single little last tick and every little perfect place to get in and out. But 60 to 70% of a run like this is you're doing very, very well. So it's a matter of putting your rules, your entry rules. It's the entry. It's all about the entry. Make your entry rules get real clear. And if you go back and mark your charts every single day, you will start to develop your eye to see a pattern. And it doesn't matter what strategy you're trading or what chart you're trading. I strongly urge you to go back at the end of every day, go back through your charts, mark every single entry, whether you took it or you didn't take it. That's not the issue. The issue is to recognize where those are, because that's how you're going to develop your eye, and then you'll spot them faster and faster and faster. And pretty soon you'll just be able to look at a chart and in just a matter of a minute, it's either there or it's not. And if it's not, you just wait for the next bus, get a different market. But don't get on the bus if you don't like the bus driver and he's not doing everything just exactly the way you want it, just let it go. Let it go. It's better to not have a trade than to have one and you start wearing your fireman's hat because you're dealing with a crisis. So, let's see. I'm amazed at this VIX. It's just a hair over 14 right now, and the indices just don't seem to know where to stop. But anyway, tomorrow morning we will have some news out. At 10 a.m. we have factory orders and I don't know, this tip economic optimism. I love that. I'm not too sure what they're planning to lie about on that one, but anyway, we'll have that tomorrow afternoon. I may or may not be around, but at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, Mr. Drahi, the answer to Janet Yellen in Europe, is speaking. So you might see the dollar and bonds start to move a little bit depending on what he has to say. So let's see. I have one question. Let's see. I have a question here. An entry point to enter a trade scalping between the high of the deviation. What do you? Let me see, Chris. No, it's Ezra. I'm sorry. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking me, but let's see. An entry point to enter a trade scalping between the high and the where the market's putting in a higher this is why I like to keep today's high, because the market will test those, and I don't care what markets you're trading. But an entry point, when you get things like this, the entry point is the E. Take the E. 3 ticks above the E, and just keep trailing your stop and go with the flow. What will help you monitor that more than anything else, I think it does for me, is a 30-minute candle chart, and it just needs to be a little tiny one. And at the top and bottom of the hour, check where that next 30-minute candle is forming and what it's starting to look like, because that'll tell you if you're going to stay or go. If you make one kind of like this, or I put those on Thinkorswim simply because poor Ninja Trader here at 7.0 or 2 or whatever it is kind of limping along, and I try to take as much stress off of Ninja as I possibly can. So there are no E's. Yeah, that's what I say. Daryl does a lot of things. Daryl sees stuff that I have. That's what I keep saying. You could take one of those plastic fly swatters and hook it up to a data feed, and Daryl Martin could trade off of it. He sees this stuff far differently than I'm able to grasp. But I do know that he will take that when it's all these green E's down here, and you have this EMA is trending up, and it just keeps going higher and higher. He will do things like take an entry just right at this deviation, take it to the next one. I'm not so sure I can do that, but he's a really, really good trader. So I think that's about it. I'll come back tomorrow at 8:30, and we'll see what the day might be bringing. With this time change, sometimes you can get a nice crude oil trade early in the morning. There was one or two this morning that I kind of liked. I just I didn't have everything up and wasn't operational yet. But for those of you who are, don't discount a nice trade before things open like that, because it's the London session is still in business, so crude oil will be there'll be less volume. But if you're patient, sometimes it's a little easier if you get a really good setup. So I will come back at about 8:30 tomorrow morning, and we'll see what happens for the day. This has been my view from my world in Apex land, brought to you by Apex Investing. I'll see you tomorrow.